Hi everyone, welcome to the official YouTube channel of Law Prep Tutorial. I am Saket, your mentor, and आज के वीडियो में we are going to talk about editorials. Now, as a CLAT aspirant, I can bet that आपने हजारों बार ये बात सुनी होगी कि just go through the newspaper editorial, write a daily summary, understand what the editorial wants to say, and you are done for your reading comprehension section. And ये तो हम daily सुबह उठते हैं, we daily get hands on the Indian Express or the Hindu. And then we pick a newspaper, we pick up a highlighter, we pick up a pencil, and then we try to understand the main idea. We try to underline the lines that we find important. ये practice daily होती है. And फिर एक Sunday आता है जहाँ पे you go and give the mock. And mock में you find two answers to be really good. And you pick one of them. फिर आता है mock का result. And then you realize कि shit, this is wrong. I went the wrong way. अब ये सुनने में जितना frustrating लग रहा है, I believe ये रियल लाइफ में हर संडे और मंडे को लिविंग थ्रू दिस एक्सपीरियंस इज फ्रस्ट्रेटिंगली पेनफुल, more painful than I can even imagine, right? So let's have a basic go through at why is editorial necessary, the problems that we face, the trend that we follow, and possibly what is the required skill set when it comes to imbibing editorial reading and editorial analysis in your mocks and in your actual exam. So if we talk about editorials, see, I think all of us are progressing towards law as a career, and talking about law as a career, understand that judgments go into hundreds of thousands of pages, and as such एक skill जो required होनी चाहिए is to basically summarize or sum up what the judgment wanted to say. More than that, कई बार ऐसा होता है ना कि we look at things from one particular perspective without even noticing or without even analyzing the fact that there are multiple other perspectives or aspects to see the same thing. So how newspaper editorials help you is by expanding your horizon, expanding the way you think, developing a critical thinking, like questioning things, looking at the things which are said left unsaid, and also about summarizing information, like connecting 1,000-page judgment and then briefing it down to a few pages. That's precisely the function of understanding an editorial and summarizing or basically getting through it. Now, the second aspect of our video today is that there is a daily reading zero strategy approach which some of us follow, and then ये हम वही लोग हैं जो हर संडे या मंडे ये रियलाइज करते हैं कि even though we are reading editorials daily, but then when it comes to mock, we fail miserably. And then there are some people who follow the analytical way or the analytical approach. Now, daily reading या zero strategy approach में होता क्या है? हम newspaper editorial पढ़ रहे हैं. We see a word, we get lost in it. Now, this is a basic vocabulary problem, which I believe हर किसी के साथ होता है. We think of कि there are 5 lines, 5 words, 5 new words. एक काम करते हैं, 5 words पे रुकते हैं. Let's pick up a dictionary. Maybe go to ChatGPT, maybe pick up your dictionary on your cell phone, Google it. हम इस trap में फंसे रहते हैं, and then we never understand what the editorial actually wanted to say. Or we read and then we forget. Forget about reading today and forgetting tomorrow. हम कुछ मिनटों बाद ही वो information retain नहीं कर पाते हैं. Then at most of the times we are confused, we are slow, and we go out of time. And इसका impact हमें दिखता है when it comes to the mock. We don't follow time. We हमारा जो time management है, we fail miserably there also. On the contrary, there is someone who follows the analytical approach, जिसके पास एक intent, एक motivation और एक accuracy है पढ़ने की. As in, what is the intention behind reading? Is it just understanding? No. See, CLAT का purpose is not just to understand whether you read or understood the passage or not. Whether you are able to use that information, apply it in the questions or not, that is what CLAT tests. And दूसरी चीज, the test happens under a lot of pressure, tremendous pressure, a timed pressure actually. दूसरा, that distilling noise as in author का एक definite main point जरूर होता है, but उस main point को convey करने के लिए author uses a lot of supporting ideas. Are those hundreds of supporting ideas of equal importance? No. Yes, the main idea is, but at times we just need to basically eliminate the rubbish that is there. And then knowing the concept and hitting the score. Now, whatever you have imbibed in your mind, whatever you understood, uska application directly in your mock, directly in CLAT. Now, that's the distinction between a daily reading but strategy-less approach compared to an analytical approach. Point is number 3 here is to go through a रीडिंग प्रोटोकॉल, जहाँ पे हमने अपने रीडिंग को और अपने एनालिसिस को 3 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड कर रखा है, वेयर द फर्स्ट phase or the first part is to identify what? Identify the subject, the topic and the context. Second phase is locating the conclusion, assessing tone. Basically एक तरीके से you are analyzing the editorial, analyzing the argument of the author. Or the last phase, third phase, is extracting what is of prime relevance. Now just take a look at this editorial here. Whenever you see this video, take a pause, go through this editorial. And what I've tried to do in this editorial here is that I've used 3 colors. You can see 3: yellow, blue and gray. Now this yellow, blue and gray part, they are there for specific purposes. Like the yellow part you see here, that is the main point or the main highlight of the author. The blue part, which is in the second paragraph here, this blue part hints at the critical side that the author wanted to convey. और लास्ट में आपको यहाँ पे लास्ट पैराग्राफ में कुछ ऐसी लाइंस दिख रही होंगी जो ग्रे हाईलाइट में, they are the positive sides. Now if you go through the editorial, you will briefly understand that if we talk about the main highlight or the opening premise of the author का opening premise क्या था, that there are 2 countries जो इंडिया की neighbor है, majorly we are talking about Nepal and Bangladesh. Now what exactly about, if you remember phase 1 था that you had to introduce the subject or the topic and then the context. Subject और topic author ने introduce कर दिया है, which is that there are 2 countries in India's neighborhood and they have framed similar political trajectories और एक similar political path पे जा रहे हैं. Now let's take a look at what is that particular path that we are talking about. Second line talks about the ouster of their leaders, Sheikh Hasina in August 2024 and KP Sharma Oli in September 2025. This is the context in which the topic appears. The topic was neighboring countries. Context is Bangladesh and Nepal and the ousting of the leaders in Bangladesh and Nepal. Let's move ahead. वहाँ पे क्या हुआ? वहाँ पे they led to the ouster of the leaders, that is the leaders were overthrown. और reason बहुत ही clearly यहाँ पे इस yellow highlight में cited है, that the accusation was of nepotism, family politics, corruption, erosion of democratic processes. Democracy के जो set rules, processes है, regulations, they were not being followed. And almost in both the countries the scenario was the same. Now if we talk about these 2 yellow parts that you see highlighted here, यहाँ पे the author has drawn a comparison between Bangladesh and Nepal. About Bangladesh, the author writes that Prime Minister Tariq Rahman seems more sure-footed than Prime Minister Balendra Shah. Shah enjoys enormous popularity, but he also carries the weight of great expectations, and his major challenge is to restore not only the credibility of a state but also unity among people. Now this is about Nepal and Bangladesh. Nepal के case में there is a heavy weight of expectation on Shah, who has to deliver on the belief that people have bestowed on him. Ab if we look at the blue colored highlight, and the blue colored highlight is the negative aspect or the critical side about Nepal. What about Nepal? Let's see. यहाँ पे नेपाल में what happened, that it was less than 24 hours जब Balendra Shah he took charge, and within less than 24 hours what he did was his government ordered the arrest of former PM KP Sharma Oli, and KP Sharma Oli had a role in the Gen Z crackdown. Now he was arrested, but यहाँ पे arrest के साथ एक छोटी सी problem है. The word you see here is yet, then however and thus. These 3 indicator words. Let's see what indicates. यहाँ पे yet के बाद we talk about that यहाँ पे 24 hours नहीं हुए थे, but then arrest हो गया of KP Sharma. Now this arrest does what? This arrest also shows a way or a problematic way in which Balendra Shah is working, because the arrest was with the absence or the presence of no court warrant, and Shah's move has thus fueled concerns that he and the Rashtriya Swatantra Party may use their strength to target political opponents. Not just that, failure to respect due process and build institutional integrity would not only undermine the legitimacy of the government but also erode people's trust in the process of justice. Now Nepal and Bangladesh, 2 countries थी, background same था, that दोनों countries में the leaders were ousted from their rule. What happens in Bangladesh and what happens in Nepal, ये है author का perspective. Author's argument about Nepal is that Nepal got Balendra Shah as the PM, but what is Balendra Shah doing with it? He ordered the arrest, he ordered a crackdown, बट ये क्रैकडाउन, ये अरेस्ट हुआ बिना ड्यू प्रोसेस ऑफ लॉ को फॉलो किए हुए. नाउ द ऑथर वांट्स अस टू अंडरस्टैंड कि all those people who might have voted for him as well as those who have not voted for him, he is a PM for everyone. So what he needs to ensure is that किसी भी वे में democratic processes follow हो या due process of law जरूर follow हो. Now on the contrary, if we see the grey part here, the grey part talks about Tariq Rahman, and what Tariq Rahman did was completely opposite. Completely opposite, as in Rahman appears to have prioritized stability, law and order, institutional rebuilding over vendetta-driven politics. Vendetta is revengeful politics. In the case of Shah, we can take it as a revenge-based politics, but in case of Tariq, we can say that he went for stability, law and order. And as such, he has sent the message of unity also. Now, अगर हम passage के इस editorial के flow को analyze करने की कोशिश करें, so the author precisely talked about a particular topic or the subject, and the subject was ousting of two leaders in our neighboring countries. What happens in case of Bangladesh is one context, what happens in case of Nepal is the second context. In सबका conclusion क्या है? What is the author trying to deliver by telling this? He simply wants to say that for leaders in Nepal and Bangladesh, the next few years offers an opportunity to reinvigorate democracy, and they must not fail to step up to it, which means they have got an opportunity. The only thing that they need to ensure is they don't fail miserably at delivering what the people have bestowed on them, that is their belief, right? The next part here. ये था phase 1 जो हमने यहाँ पे use किया, which is we understood the context, we understood the topic, and then we saw कि how does the author frame the comparison, right? Then phase 2 is mapping the author's voice, कि author का argument तो था, but जो author ने बोला, वो बोलते वक्त author का tone, author का demeanor in writing, what was it about? So we can just simply say, when जब author ने अपना topic introduce किया था, from there till the time he talks about Tariq Rahman, there he is somewhat praiseworthy of him. Then if we talk about Balendra Shah and his not following the due process of law, seems to be a bit on the critical side, but yes, critical होते हुए भी the author is not turning out to be very hostile. He ends the passage with a message, and the message is कि ये दोनों leaders को ही इस opportunity को fruitfully utilize करना चाहिए. So if we just find one balanced point of view or one balanced tone here, so it can be somewhat analytical as well as constructive criticism. Constructive criticism है, criticism को भी बहुत ज़्यादा author did not go over the top in doing that. So measured है, logical है, because he makes sense, he has his own reasoning for that, and at the same time it is critical, but critical के साथ साथ constructive भी है. He is not just going hostile, he is giving a balanced perspective in both the cases. Now, if we just draw a simple comparison just to make it easy for you guys, Bangladesh, Nepal, unity message, he did the arrest. यहाँ पे law was respected, यहाँ पे he bypassed no court warrant, और यहाँ पे जो हमारा assessment है of the editorial वो बहुत simple है कि Bangladesh Prime Minister very mature, acting very maturely and sure-footed, whereas Nepal के case में disquiet and vendetta or revengeful politics. And then the core thesis or the main idea of the passage. If you just have to balance the main idea or come up with a balanced statement that talks about equally about Bangladesh, Pakistan and the author's sentiment, it can be that genuine democratic reinvigoration demands broad-based statesmanship. Broad-based statesmanship matlab that you need to not focus on just your political opponents and to please maybe some of your voters, do something which goes against the rule of law or against the democratic process. What it requires is not selective justice and score settling with your opponents, right? Then the three divisions of this editorial: the surface level, direct lesson and the subtext. The surface level, what we saw was immediate political transition जो बांग्लादेश और नेपाल के केस में हुआ. The direct lesson was कि कैसे हमें revenge के ऊपर जाके या vendetta based politics के ऊपर जाकर actually में अपने लोगों की necessity को prioritize करना है. And the subtext was that the author used was to give a very gentle commentary or a very, very balanced commentary both in case of Nepal as well as Bangladesh. Now, we are almost towards the end of this editorial video now. But the simple agenda of this entire video was to make you realize कि सिर्फ पढ़ने से या सिर्फ passive reading से you are not going to gain anything out of editorial. When you are reading the editorial, make sure that there are certain questions जो आपके back of the mind में चलते रहते हो. Questions of what type? Like purpose, क्यों लिखा author ने? Tone and style, जो भी लिखा वो इस way में क्यों लिखा? Why was the author feeling in a certain way? Of course, the author will give you evidence or proof for that. You need to basically dissect that. उसके अलावा strength and weaken, यहाँ पे you can use your critical thinking, critical analysis. The main idea that is the most important or core truth that the author is trying to deliver. Organization या passage का flow क्या है? क्या structure follow किया जा रहा है? Because structure of the passage can make you very easily understand the purpose as well as the tone. All these things don't act in isolation. Please understand. Then inference, assumption, which are the logical reasoning skills that you need to use here. And last but not the least, please remember, whenever you are reading an editorial, read it like you want to break it, you want to dissect it, and you want to directly challenge the author's argument. That can of course help you with weakening it also. So that is it for the video. Just in case you liked it, do hit the like button, share or subscribe.